everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. The project I'm going to do for you today, I'm going to use one of the stamp sets that I will be featuring in my upcoming online mini retreat. It takes place in March, although it is video based and all of them will be private YouTube tutorial links. So even though it will post sometime in March, you don't have to, it doesn't have a date attached to it. And part of the reason, I think when I did the first video, I gave you reasons why it's a mini retreat this time. Some of my online retreats have 12 projects. This one's just going to have 6. And the very main reason, which I think I neglected in that video, is because I have a jury summons for the last week of February. So, you know, it could mean nothing. It could mean absolutely nothing. And I call and they're like, yeah, you don't have to come do anything. Or it could mean that I call every day and don't even ever know what's going on with my life that last week. Or I could get called and go in for a day or two. Or I could get called and be there for a week or two. So because it's happening all at that same time, I just wanted to keep this as a mini retreat. And it's going to be fun. And so I went with non-bundles. It'll be really easy, but I wanted to do not just cards, so we're going to use embossing paste. I'm going to use a little bit of it today. If you go watch this video, this one has some embossing paste on it. I did some fun stuff with the ribbon. So how it will work, we will make 6 cards together. They will all have some embossing paste on them in some way, shape, or form. So I will use all 3 of the sets that I will be using, but you can substitute others. You don't have to use the same sets. They're all basic sets. You don't have to have a die cut machine. And so you can get just the videos, you can get just the card supplies, so you have the exact supplies that you need to make the cards, or you can, and that one comes with the a jar of embossing paste, or you can get 2 of the sets, and with that one you just pick the two sets that you want, or if you get all 3 sets, then you get a free packages of the masks as well. So if you go to my website, there will be a link underneath this video. It will tell you kind of what you need as far as colors go, because sometimes I will use blends to color in. Today I'm going to use watercolor pencils. I'll use ink pads and blender pens, or ink pads and Stella. I'll mix it up, and then that way you can use whatever you're most comfortable with, or if you like it all, you can mix it up yourself too. So the first set I will use is Taco Fiesta, and when you buy this set, they're discounted a little bit. I kind of round up and I pay the shipping and handling and tax. Is kind of a perk of taking the class. So there's Taco Fiesta, super cute. I kind of go over that set in this video. And then this one will be coming up next, and is Best Day. You can see they're all line art, so they're really good for coloring in. And they all kind of have a little bit of a birthday theme, because I know those are the most used cards that we do. And they also have a great opportunity for the paste. So this one will definitely be frosting that little birthday cake. And then the one I'm going to use today is Silly Goose. So I love this one because it has like sending gaggle of good wishes, sending a big honkin' thanks, goosebumps. I love that one for that saying, and then the one we're going to use today. So that is my retreat. Again, the information is down below. The registration is sometime, I can't remember, I should have looked, sometime around February 26th-ish, maybe. I don't know. You'll have to look for sure. And then also, I know February 20th is that one. That's why I'm getting them confused. We have a demonstrator event upcoming. I'm going to use part of the online exclusives. Those start March 1st, unless you're a demonstrator. If you're dying to get them now, or if you want to come to our event, and we have a special guest. We have on Saturday a shoebox swap. We have discounted rates. We're going to eat together. We're going to swap together. We'll have demonstrations and presentations and prizes and all kinds of fun stuff. Make and takes. We will be using the online exclusives because both of our catalogs will be ending. We'll get the last chance list a couple of days after our event. So starting March 1st, we have something new that Stampin' Up's going to do. If you watch this video, you'll learn about that. It's called Online Exclusives, and they're going to happen, I think, 4 times a year. It's in this blog post. I've slept since then. Too many new things and too much planning of events can happen, and my brain can only hold so much information. But that's about this, and I'm going to use another online exclusive on today's card. I kind of mushed it all up, but still, if you join in February, you get $50 more in stuff, just free, added onto your kit from Stampin' Up. You can get that little mini machine. I have one or two of it. When you're a member of my team, you get all of my online classes for free. So if you join my team, then the retreat's free for you. You don't get the supplies, but all of my online videos are always free. They're housed on my team Facebook page. You do get my Try It classes as a member of my team. That's just a team perk, so you get the supplies to do those. I have a couple left from this past Try It class. We do it every time a new catalog comes out. So from the January catalog, I do have a couple left from that. So if you sign up and I still have those, you'll get that sent to you. Otherwise, you can wait till the next catalog comes out, which is in April. So the beginning of March. So let's get going on today's card. We're going to use that Silly Goose set. It's super easy little card. First thing we're going to do is we're using white cardstock, and then we're going to use a little bit of the new shimmery paper that is in the January mini. The mini catalogs are going for a shorter amount of time. So I feel like I literally just said the last chance list is coming out, and it will come out the end of March. So that catalog starts in January, ends in the end of April. So we're just about halfway through it. I'm going to just use Memento on this. So I'm going to use our little goose who's floating in her little lifesaver with her little froggy friend. I just have some scrap basic white. And I just have this because the other one is the words. And you know, anytime you do words, if you stamp them and you press to like wiggle it, then they might be a little smeary, and I don't want smeary words. So on the off chance that I need another piece, there we go, that's good. And it's 2 stamps. I just mounted them on one stamp because I'm going to cut them apart. And then I am going to color this with watercolor pencils. I could use my blends. I could use ink refills. I could use insides of my ink pads, whatever you want to color it with. Watercolor pencils, if you are new to stamping, I think they're the easiest. It's what I started with literally about 30 years ago when I started stamping. And I had 2 greens and a red. And I was able to do a ton with 2 greens and a red. Stamping wasn't really a thing. For one, you couldn't look online because there was no online looking. And I'm just going to color this. I'm not using any designer series paper, so I don't have to match it to anything. This is Bermuda Bay. Here's one thing I'm always hoping every time we get a new catalog, that maybe we have some new watercolor pencils, because I love them, but I have had these forever and they last forever. So I'm just going to kind of give this some water where she's floating here. And I tend to press pretty hard. And you can just sharpen them with a pencil sharpener. So I use mine a lot. Other people use mine. They don't, and they're under $15. They're really inexpensive. So don't worry about using them up. They are going to last you forever. I mean, they can break, like a pencil lead can snap, but even then you just sharpen them. I mean, you don't look at your number 2 pencils and think, how long is this going to last? Pencils just last, right? So we have the blues, and then I'm going to take my basic gray, and I am just going to go right along, because I want my goose girl here to be white, but this will just kind of make her pop from the page, because we don't want everything else to be colored in and her to just be white on the page. So I'm just going to kind of give her some little highlights there. And again, whatever color you want. Here's garden green. She's got some little leaves on her hat. Just color those in. And then I have early espresso, and I'll do her hat in this. So with this, I'll go dark around these edges here, and then just kind of pull it in light. That'll give a little bit of shading in a second when I use my blender pen. And then I'm gonna change this a little bit from how I did my other one, because I just colored it, and then when I went to use the paper, I was like, it doesn't really match a whole lot of here. So I'm going to do a little bit of a purple band. And then I'm going to do the little polka dots on her floaty. And this is Gorgeous Grape, I think. Yep. I'll do these in Gorgeous Grape. That'll give a little bit more purple to my card. There's no in colors in the watercolor pencils. They're just our basic colors. There's 2 sets, and you most certainly want to have both sets, because if you just get the second set, you won't have enough colors at all, I don't think. So just get both. And then if you just have the first set, then you'll still feel like you need a couple more. So just get them both. This is only pumpkin pie. And then I'm going to add just a bit of the yellow to her beak. Make her super pretty. And then I'm going to use Daffodil Delight on my flowers. And then my sayings say, a silly goose told me it's your birthday, and then this silly goose forgot. So you can just do a silly goose told me it's your birthday if you're on time. If you're like me and often late, then you can add a silly goose forgot. And I'm going to do her floaty. And then this is Granny Apple Green for our little frog. So she's cute just like that. So you can stop and just have her be colored like that. I'm going to use my blender pen. And so when you start, you want to make sure that your tip isn't dirty, and this one was. And then start with your lightest color. So I'm just going to take my gray here and just kind of pull that so you don't have a line into the middle. And then I just kind of like to, that was the only one that really needs to be blended like that. Then you just want to kind of dab on it so it doesn't have the pencil lines. So just kind of swirl around it. It will make it look much more solid. It's not going to look like a blend because it does have a little bit of a wax feel to it. But it's very bright. Now it won't look like this unless you press hard with your pencil. And when you're changing like for that, now I can kind of change to the purple. I don't have to get all of it off, because the more you do this over here, obviously, eventually it's going to use up your fluid. But now I've gone from purple, get most of that purple off, and then I can go to my blue. So go from light color to light color. So see how that is where you can still see the white paper and how this kind of just puts it all together. Especially when you've done 2 colors of pencil, it blends them, which is what your blender pen is supposed to do. So just mix that. Then we'll go over here, get that blue off. So most of that's off, so that means we can go over here and do our green. If there's a tiny bit of blue that comes off in that green, that's okay. I got those greens pretty good up there because those were little. Let's get these flowers. And then we've got orange. And then from the orange, we can do the brown. If a little bit of orange gets in there, it'll just make it look like a straw hat. And done. Super easy, and isn't she cute? I'm going to just take my snips and I'm going to hand trim her out. Remember, there are no dies for any of the 3 sets that I'm featuring in the retreat. Anything that, in a minute when I show you the folder, anything that is die cut punched or put through an embossing folder for retreat will come to you already done. And if you get the card packet, if you just get the videos, then you'll have to have something similar or the same if you want to replicate the card as is. So we've cut these out. Now I'm going to take my embossing paste. If you're doing the retreat, you will need some kind of an inexpensive thin paintbrush. We are going to give her some feathers. So let me find where I put my paintbrush. This is a very old thing of embossing paste, but it still works. If yours gets a little dry, then you can just add some water a tiny bit at a time and just kind of re-moisten one bit at a time. So I'm just going to kind of first flatten some on here. And even though this is a tiny paintbrush, sometimes our areas of stamps are smaller than what we think they might be. I did think about putting a little bit of water in here, but I wanted it to dry so you guys could see it. So I'm just going to start tapping this on here. Now I know some people will think maybe I could use the puff paint that we just had. The puff paint is very, if you didn't use it, it's very, very runny. So to control it, you can see I'm not getting on the lines, because if you get on the lines, you're going to cover up the fact that she is a swan or a goose. I'm going to get some on her tail. And I found the easiest way is to kind of right here where it's the largest area is to put a kind of a scoop of it there. And this is my paintbrush that I always use for embossing paste. And I just wipe it off with a wet wipe when I'm done. So see how I'm kind of getting it on there, and then kind of let it stick to the card, and then you can move it and just wipe this off so it doesn't have a lot on the end, and make your brush a little bit smaller. I like it to get up on her tail, but you don't want to cover up your frog. There we go. So if it was you, I would add just the tiniest drip of water, because you don't want it to be too wet, but it would stick to the paper a little bit more. But I want it to be dry, so I'll be able to show you the finished card. And the less moisture that's in it now, when you get it in the class, it will be new, so it's the perfect. My new one is coming. It will be here tomorrow. So the next video I'll do, and I always hesitate to buy a new one when I have this. And then I have another one right here too. Except for the fact that I want to be using one that's the same consistency for the class that you will be. Because this one works. And actually, there are advantages, because the other day when you saw the Fiesta video, when I added the refill, it's just a very fine line trying to get this in here. There we go. Once there's some stuck to the card, and what I did on my other one, I kind of let this dry, because then it sticks better to itself once that little layer's on there than it does to just the cardstock. So we'll let that sit. We'll go on and do the rest of the card, and then we'll come back and we'll put her on, and then I'll add a little bit more. So wipe that off, then just take a wet wipe. And this one's been sitting here for about an hour because I did my first card, then I had lunch, then I texted my daughter, then I texted my friends, and I FaceTimed my mom and my sister. So it's been sitting there a minute. Have that, and then I do have my baggie, and when I am done for the day, I will put this back in the baggie. This is one of our new folders that is part of the online exclusives, and it's fun. It's part of a 3-pack. So you saw me use one on both the cards I showed you already. It's on the back of this, and then it's also on the back of the Fiesta. I am going to put it just a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to run that through. Now look at this. This already makes me feel like some old-fashioned milk glass, and then this really looks like some of the milk glass. I have it in my bathroom. My bathroom's full of the white milk glass. Then this is one of the add-ons that's a celebration. So celebration ends in just 2 weeks. You don't have much time left to get free stuff. This is one of the add-ons, free with $50. This paper is in the January mini catalog. It is very, 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 very pretty. And it was totally an add-on after I had colored it. And then I'm like, well, there weren't very many purple pencils. And I hadn't, the only purple I had on the first one was her little hat on her, the little strip on her hat. So that's why I colored a little bit more purple with the polka dots. Then I'm going to use some Freesia ribbon. Remember, there's no in colors that are in the watercolor pencils, but I'm just showing you that I'm not going to tell you colors for the online retreat because they will make them work, because we're going to be coloring in. And we're going to be using the embossing paste for a lot of the background. So you may need some refills, but as long as you have refills that refill your favorite colors of ink pads, you'll be able to coordinate with what you have. So just tie a bow, and then we're going to take this, put it towards, not right at the top, but kind of towards the top. Doesn't that look like milk glass? Add your bow here. This is the easiest way if you have a hard time getting your bow to go the direction that you want it to go. Put that there. Could have been a little shorter. It's okay. Pop that back there. There we go. Now you want to make sure up on this card that you have adhesive. You can see there was something on this card. So I'm making sure that that's the part that gets covered up and it's not on the back of my card. You could take one of the goose that is holding the balloon and stamp her on the inside if you want to decorate the inside of your card as well. And have one more use for your little geese stamp. Now I'm going to take the silly goose told me it's your birthday, and that's going to go on the top. So put that just under your bow. And this card needs to kind of be built down. And then we will add this, and it's much easier to add it to the back of this than it is to try to smush it on with these. And then this silly goose forgot. It's gonna go here. And then because my embossing paste is still wet, I'm gonna see if I can get it here. You could use dimensionals, but I don't see where mine are. And this will be a little bit easier to poke down anyways, since I have wet embossing paste. Oh, it's pretty dry. Then this is really what kind of makes this card. These are from the annual catalog, the Glossy Dots assortments. And it just so happened, because I pulled them out when I was done with my card, but the colors are kind of exactly what I chose for my pencils. And so what I did was I started at the bottom. So here's my blues, and it goes with the dot theme. They may be too big. Yep. Sometimes the little sticky isn't needed because they're so big, the embellishments, that they work with the scissors. So we have blue, so let's do some blue. And I want 5, and there's 4 colors, so I'm going to do 2 of the blue. Let's get 2 blues. And then let's go to the pink, because that's our next color. We'll put a pink. And then we've got the yellow flowers. And then we have the purple on her hat. Aren't those cute? Adorable. See, this is before when I could see I have a lot of stuff on my table. When I could see my dimensionals, this is what it looks like if you pop it up on a dimensional. And this one I did also take my Stella, and I just did it in the water. It was after I put it on this to kind of match that. And then switch. It does the same thing where you have to kind of switch the colors. And I'll just get it off on a piece of this. See, it has blue. And then I just gave this a little bit of shimmer as well. Adorable. And before you put that up and get it out next time, I'm just going to put it on a light color. So you can see she's all the way dry, so it dries hard, the embossing paste. Super fun, super cute, a little bit of texture. So look underneath the video. If you're watching this on Facebook, there will be information down underneath the video there. Just go down to the comments and you can find the information on my retreat there. Join my email list, and then you'll get all the up-to-date information for everything. Everybody have a great day, and I will catch you back here later this week. Bye.